Hello, welcome. Another video. Today is Monday, 24th of August 2020. Today I want to talk about my father, my real father, and maybe somehow I feel a little bit ashamed because I know he was my real father, but I never met him. I know nothing about his private life, and it came into my mind that he is my father, was my father. How did it happen? It is not easy to talk about. You know, he has a daughter, and she's still alive, and I don't hope that she will suit me. Well, all the photos I show, it's from the internet, everybody can see it. So, this is not the problem. The problem is more that there are some subjects I can't talk about in a direct way. Yeah, that would be too dangerous. Well, I hope that she likes my videos and she also understands that there's something going on in the world. And it is not only about me and my father, and there's something more, something greater. There's a master plan of God, and I try to explain you a little bit this master plan that you may understand that it is no coincidence that I am his son. But when it came to me that he is my father, was my father, it was, it was like a shock, and I titled this video "Who I Am." That was in the spring, before this Corona crisis started, or just in the beginning of the Corona crisis, and I was so shocked that, the last hope was gone. So I realized I will never have a normal life. They will haunt me till I'm die. There's no escape. I tried already 3 countries: Switzerland, Serbia, Russia. Well, I hope that in the eastern part of Europe, maybe this is not important. You know, well, in that time I didn't know who my father was. I just felt that they haunt me, and I thought, well, maybe I got out of this NATO sphere, the Western Europe sphere, that could maybe help, but I found out that in Russia they knew everybody about me, so they were well informed, and it showed me already the truth of this. There's one world government, and there's only one government, and they working all together, all nations, all the intelligence community. They have all informations. Well, and I was wondering why I am so important, but I didn't know. Well, it came into my mind. Sometimes it happens that when I make a video they don't like, they find somebody else who make his video, and there was a counter video that they know what is on my screen, what I'm looking on YouTube, what I'm looking for guys who makes also videos. And then there came a video, and this man said, he knows somebody, he had so much respect, and and uh, and he did something what is not good in the sight of the Lord. I can't say it more in a detail, you know. And if you want to know what is meant with this, it's not good in the sight of the Lord, you may go to the Bible, to the Old Testament, and you read maybe the book of the Kings, the first book of the Kings. You read about King Salomo, how all this women he liked, he loved, that were from another nation, not from Israel. And Moses warned the children of Israel, don't let them go into you, neither you should go into them, you know, because they still hanging on this old cult, the Baal cult. But when King Solomon went older, he forgot all the commands of God. He forgot what his father David did. You know, he kept the laws, but King Solomon was all these women. They tempted him, and he had so many women and from other nations, you know, all around Israel, these other nations, and he had so many women from Egypt, from I don't know the names of all these nations around Israel. So they tempted him, and they hang on this old cultus abominations. And well, I must really say I'm proud to be a Jew, because we were the first nation in the Middle East that stopped this, that Moses brought the law, that he said, well, don't kill anybody, so including children, and don't cheat your wife, don't fornicate, because if you fornicate, you have a lot of unwanted babies, and then the Baal priestess come to you and say, well, if you don't want this baby, we take care of this baby, and all the Baal priestess come, so you have to stop this fucking around. Excuse me, I want to make sure that you understand what I'm saying about. Well, it's depending, you know, if you keep the law of God and you stay true with your wife, and you can have joy with your wife as you like, and it's not a crime. You know, it's also in the Old Testament said that you can enjoy your wife, but if you fornicate, if you are not true, if you don't control your lust, so all these unwanted babies come, and also the Baal priestess come. So we were the first nation. We were the first nation who stopped this, and there was also a king. He was haunting this Baal priestess. He brought all these Baal priestess to one place and killed them all. And well, I enjoy this place, but I will not read this place now. My Bible reading was so bad in the last time when I read about the book of Daniel, chapter 1 and 2, and I made a time that maybe the people can skip, maybe they can better read it in their own language, in their own, if they have a Bible. So because my reading of the King James Bible is so awful, better I tell it in my words. And okay, I want to say that, well, how can I start? Well, I came to King Solomon. He loved women, and well, somehow I found out my real father, who was chancellor here. Well, I don't care what he did. As a politician, I see him more as a human. I'm sorry that I never met him. Well, it was very cruel that he was not allowed, because it was all arranged, and well, I think he loved my mother loved him, but it was not free. It was arranged, and I tell you a little bit about this, about my hometown, also maybe, you know, my hometown. I said in my last video that my hometown is ruled by Freemasons, and I can prove it a little bit. You know, this is a secret society where the Freemasons, they were not bad in the beginning. They started in France, I read. You know, they had to build these cathedrals in France, and very complicated buildings, you know, when they made this, I don't know this word, you know, this Gothic style and all this roofs and this, it was quite complicated stuff. And these Freemasons, they were engineers, and they had to discuss about, you know, there were no free universities. It was all controlled by the Pope, and the Pope doesn't want free speech or free knowledge, so they had to organize themselves to build these cathedrals. So that was the start of the Freemasons, and the Pope hated them. He told the King of France, drop them out, I don't want them, they are not good, so they discussing too much. They were looking for the truth, what is keeping the world together. They were in the tradition of the Greek humanism also, you know, this in the 1500, when this Greek came to, after the Ottoman Empire throw all these Greeks out, you know, and then there was a rising of Renaissance, and you know, in north of Italy, Leonardo da Vinci, and well, and these Freemasons, they were in this tradition somehow, and the Pope didn't like them, so he dropped them out to France, and then later they came to Scotland, and there was the Scottish Freemason, how you say, Freemason, Scottish Freemason, you know. There were also other Freemasons in Europe. They had a convent, the convent of Wilhelmsbad. It's not far from me. I can go there with a bike on Sunday. There's a castle, you know, it's near Hanau. I think it was 780, I don't know exactly, 780 something more. And they made a fix so that they brought the Freemasons under control, you know, the Jesuit order, Rome. Well, and then the Freemasons came under control of Rome, and they were not free anymore. And today they are not doing things that are good in a sign of the Lord. And what I show you, this is my hometown here, and we learned at school, well, this is the old castle of Hamburg, the Hammerburg, the castle of Hamburg. But it never looked like this. The old castle was, there were wooden pales, so in a round, in a circle, like the Vikings did. You know, in the north of Hamburg, there was a capital of the Vikings. You know, this people who went with Eric first time to America, and there was a big town, the capital of the Vikings. It was called Haithabu. It is near the Baltic Sea, near the town of Schleswig. And well, I went there with my class, and we see this old they dig it out, and all this old Viking ships, and they had control over the north of Europe, also now Sweden, Denmark, and you know, they had a lot of trading. They went also to Russia, to Novgorod, and they were the first who settled in Russia, and they were a lot of trading on the Baltic Sea, and you know, and this old castle of Hamburg, it looked like a Viking castle, so pales of trees, wood, and it never looked like this. And you know what this is? It's the temple of Solomon. You know, here's the temple of Solomon. You see here this Solomon built this house of God, all these cedars from Lebanon he brought, and this too, the word is in English, I say column, but in the King James Bible it is somehow other. I don't know the word, I'm sorry, I call it a column, and this column, they are mentioned in the Bible. It is in also in the book of Kings, chapter 7, and King Solomon, he called them Jachin and Boaz. And if you compare this building here with here Hamburg, you see they looking quite similar. There are also two columns, one on the right, one on the left, and in the middle there's a big door, and it is you know, the Freemasons, they honor this temple of Solomon, because Solomon was known for his wisdom. He was very wise, and you know, and he was. This building was very famous. This temple of Solomon was known in the whole Mediterranean world. Well, we in Germany, we didn't play a big role to that time. That was I don't know. It was maybe before Christ. Well, it was destroyed about 500 before Christ, when the Babylon army came in. So maybe it was built before that, you know, between 1000 and I don't know exactly, so 3000 years ago maybe, or maybe less, you know. And well, the Freemasons, they love this temple, and also this sacrificing cult, but Solomon, he never sacrificed humans. They sacrificed sheep. You see here, this is the place where they burned them, so-called fire sacrifice. So they first killed the sheep, and then they burned them, and the smell they thought will enjoy the Lord, their God of Israel. So they burned a lot, and while Jesus later said, I don't want this burning sacrifice, I want to see good things, that you do good things like helping other people, and I don't want to have this sacrifice. So Jesus was opposing this culture. Well, this sacrificing of children, it took more place on the hills or beside Jerusalem. So there were it was not allowed in this temple, but they did it somewhere around Jerusalem, and they never could fight it totally. You know, it was so difficult because all these other nations, they did it, and if you like, it was somehow a perception afterwards. You know, they didn't know condoms or other ways to prevent pregnancy, and so when they decided, well, I will not bind my lust, so if there are unwanted babies, so we will give it to Baal. So normally they, well, the king of Nebuchadnezzar, he throw him into the fire, but also rip the heart out and hold it into the sun, giving to Baal. Well, it was a great cult in the Middle East, and I'm so proud to be a Jew because we were the first nation who stopped this, and this brought also the civilization later. So that was quite important to break this tradition. Well, but in my hometown, the Antichrist re-established this Babylonian cult, and using the Freemasons also. Well, I saw things I can't tell here. I'm so sorry. But maybe when they smash my country in another lockdown or in many, many lockdowns, I will break my silence. But not now. I think you still need hope. And well, my father, he was kind of gifted. He was a very handsome man when he was young. I show some pictures. Who everybody can find it in the internet. It is not private pictures. I found it in the internet, and well, I hope his daughter will forgive me. Yeah, you see him here as a young family man, the daughter, and he looks a little bit like Humphrey Bogart, this trench coat, and also when he smoked very cool, and well, this is about the lag we had after the Second World War. We had this dictatorship of Hitler, and then all the Jews had to leave. They went to America, to England, or they were killed in Auschwitz when they not have enough money. So, and there were many Jews who made all this culture, the music in Berlin, this varietés, theaters, and all the Jews were gone, and there was such a gap of culture, and also this dictatorship, this cruelty of war, and there were many American film stars like Humphrey Bogart I think he was in the 50s, and also James Dean, and the people were looking for new idols, and they tried to copy the American film stars. My father was smoking like Humphrey Bogart somehow. He looked so funny when he was smoking. Well, he was a big smoker, and he reached the age of 97, and I'm wondering how he could reach such an age, because he smoked like hell. It was incredible how he smoked. Here you see him again, and I'm quite sure that he alone he would never do any cruelty, because he saw the cruelty in the war. Here you see him Fronturlaub, when they had free from the front. He was near Leningrad, so that is today St. Petersburg, and you see this pain in his face. Yeah, it was so tragic. If he knew that his grandfather was a Jew, I don't know, but it was so tragic. He was a Jew, and he had to help the SS to clean Russia from the Jews. They blocked all these areas. The SS went in and shoot them all, kill them all. Well, Auschwitz was more for the West European Jews, maybe from Hungary, from France, from Germany. But in Russia they just put them in the barn and burned them alive. This is what they did. Well, and he saw this, and well, this is amazing how he could hide it. You see him here on the Baltic Sea, you know, in the near of Hamburg, the Baltic Sea. Many people go there in summer, sitting on the beach here with his wife, and you see his pain. But his wife doesn't know. He kept all this away from her. Well, he was a real man. Yeah, he hated blood, and he could never do something against the law of God by his own. I'm quite convinced. But when you got famous, they invite you. They're inviting you for a party, and they don't tell you. The Freemasons, they don't tell you what they are planning to do. And they bring you into the great city of Babylon, and you see things that are very disgusting, and you are very disappointed. They told you, we are your friend, we wanting your best. And then you see these abominations. Well, you have two choices. They tell you, you stay with us, you stay in this town, we make you great, we make you a career, or we destroy you. We have all the pictures, we have made pictures of you together with these children, and we will ruin you, you will end as a beggar on the street, we will destroy you, your whole family. They leave you only two chances, and who has the power to resist? Only a few. The most men who came to this point, they decide, well, there are also death threats, they threat you, and maybe you realize that the brakes of your car's not working anymore. They give you warnings, and the most men decide then stay in the city. Well, how did they find him? He did a great job. He did a great job during this great flood in Hamburg in '62. There was a big flood, and well, I tell you a little bit about this flood. I was not born. It was 6 years before I was born, and I show you a little bit. This is Hamburg here, and there was a storm in the North Sea pushing all this water into this river Elbe, and so this all the wind is going like this, and so this water goes back into the river, and there was a big flood, and in this flood, in that time he was Minister of Interior Minister. Well, what was his task? Hunting communists, We had a big communist movement in Hamburg. There was also a fight in '23 in the Weimar Republic. They said, well, we made already a revolution in 1918 and we will have another try. 23 they were storming police check, this police stations. They were storming, and where they thought where we will make a takeover like in Russia, but they didn't know that this Russia was a plan of the Antichrist, that that Stalin was already in power, and that was just another system of the Antichrist. But they didn't know. They believed in communism, and they thought we can have it in Hamburg. And there was always a big communist movement, and they well, and he was watching them. What are they doing? Are they planning a new revolution? Well, he went behind them. Yeah, here he was a good hunter. He was quite intelligent and he was clever, and he had also the you know the hunting instinct, you know, to go after them. He was quite a good hunter, I think. Well, but then suddenly there came a flood, and they thought, well, the dikes, they are sure, there's no problem. And then suddenly, well, I have to look for the date. The exact date of this flood was, it was from 16 February of 17th February 1962, so that was in the winter. And suddenly the south of Hamburg looked like this. All these blue parts were underwater, and especially this place, maybe for the Hamburger listeners it is known, it is Vettel and Wilhelmsbad. It is in the middle where the railway goes to the south. It is somewhere here. And the people, they were sitting on the roof. There was no escape. There was all full of water. And my father said later in an interview, he came. Well, he had got a phone call in the night, and then you come immediately. It's an emergency, and then he jumped into his car and drove like a devil through the town. And then he came in, and all the politicians, they were running like chickens, and they didn't know what to do. You know, they had no experience, and well, somehow I think it was God that he was there in the right time, because he made a decision. He brought the military in, and here's a headline, and it is called "The Crisis Manager Broke the Law, the Constitution." You know, it was against the Constitution to bring the military in a civil matter. You know, they had the experience in the Third Reich that this SA and shooting on the workers in Berlin, so they decided, well, the military will never go into civil matters again, but he decided we have to do it, and all because this town was full of rich men. They didn't care about the dikes. They said, well, it's okay, the dikes are sure, but they weren't sure. They were too small, and they were not investing enough in these dikes. They broke away. All this water came in, and well, he decided we bring this Bundeswehr in, this military in, and all these helicopters. The town of Hamburg never had so much helicopters, and they picked them up from the roof, saved all these people. Well, there were also many people dying, you know. There were dying 347 people died, and without my father there would have much more deaths, you know. And they criticized him, you know, yeah, he's a new dictator, he's a Francesco Franco. Is he looking like Francesco Franco from Spain, maybe? Yeah. It's ridiculous. Well, they were also jealous. He had a great success. He was very famous. Well, he thanks these soldiers from Bundeswehr. Yeah, you see this love in his eyes. It reminds him of the comrades when he was in war. You know, that is a special love between men. It has nothing to do with homosexuality. It is that you are counting on your comrade and he counts on you. When he is in danger, you will help him, no matter if you die, and the other way around. And well, this was quite remaining him of his time when he was a soldier. and well, it was a great success, and he was so famous, and this is how they found him. They saw that he is gifted, that he has well, that he has the light and the in the right moment to do the right things. All the other politicians, they couldn't. They thought, oh, you can't do this. Oh, what about my career? To bring the military in it, they will, you know, I can't do this. What is about my? They were not able to make this decision. He was the only one who did it, and you know, it was somehow God's will. And here he is in a television, and somehow he's looking like I do my videos about this electronic torture. He looks a little bit like me, or I look like him. Yeah, he was also a little bit shy. Of course he was shy. He knew that he was a Jew, and he lived all among those people who brought his relatives, his Jewish relatives to Auschwitz. And sometimes I ask the Lord, so why did you send him? This motherfuckers didn't deserve it, you know. They 20 years before, you know, 20 years back, they got all the houses of the Jews, and now it's ours, and they were so happy to get their houses, all the rich men. Well, the Lord answered me, well, yes, he was laughing. My son, I can understand your anger, but why did you make all these films? Yeah, but it is somehow funny that it is. You think it is a coincidence that God sent us in the right moment? I don't think so. There's a plan. There's a master plan of God. And without my films, there would have been so many people dying. You know this. If you don't believe, I don't care. You will believe it someday, but maybe we can finish this. Well, but in this moment there are dying so many people from this. They find the bioresonance of the victims and bring them slowly to death. The old peoples and all peoples, they have no chance because they don't. If they see my films, they don't believe it. Because why should my government do this to me? Why should the Antichrist kill me? That he decided we are too much here on earth. I don't believe this, you know. They can't believe it. But I hope that the younger people, that they believe it and that they defend themselves. And well, somehow, somehow it's crazy that he was there in the right time. I did what I had to do in my time, and he in his time. It's somehow crazy, you know. Well, yeah. Well, he had also later he had big success. There were these terrorists, and they captured this airplane, Landshut, and from Mallorca to Germany, and then they went to Somalia, to Mogadishu, and then they needed him also when he was already chancellor. And this is how he looked when he was in a fighting mode, when he had to fight. You see all this, you know, this stress, the stress in his face when he had to fight. And well, the operation was successful. Here he thanks the leader of this GSG9. It was a special unit, a special anti-terror squad. Yeah, I think squad is the right word. And well, what was their strategy? They they throw the flash grenades in. And then they went in and they shooting everybody who moves. All the passengers, they were heavily traumatized. The flash grenade came in, and then they came in with this machine guns, and then everybody. So the passengers were shocked. They were sitting on the seat, and the four terrorists, they were moving, just shoot them down. That was the strategy, and it was a kind of it was like kamikaze. It was so strange, but the Antichrist decided, no matter how many people die, we will storm this. We will set a sign that um, no terrorist will ever break my power. I will storm them, and and they had to do it. And my father had all this heavy burden on him, for the case this mission would be a failure. The declaration of withdrawal, it was already written, it was prepared, and he thought, well, it will end in a mess. They can never go into this airplane and free all the passengers without loss, but all passengers survived. It is incredible. Well, this is maybe not true, I don't know, maybe sometimes I think they don't tell all the truth, maybe, but there was, they said that nobody was dying from the passengers. They killed three terrorists and one survived, and it was such a good luck, and maybe also at that time God was with him, that everything went so fine. It was unbelievable, and he had a great success, and sometime my father reminds me of King Solomon. Well, all the other kings came to him, and they had so much fun with him. He was always so funny and making jokes. Here is Ronald Reagan and Nancy Reagan, and I never saw Ronald Reagan, or he was always so serious. And when here's my father standing, he liked to make jokes. Well, if I remember this picture, Ronald Reagan, in the 80s we had so much fear. By the way, here I'm in the age of 16. The guy with the white hairs. I cover my friend here. I don't want to be in this film, I think. Yeah, behind my friend I'm standing. I was in England, it was in Cambridge, and he was a guide, and holding his hand like he want to protect me. He told us all the things about Cambridge, the university. Well, this is how I looked when I was 16, and in that time there was this Pershing. My father had to decide this, this middle-range rocket, and we were also scared. So what is if the American president says, well, I'm fed up with all this German and Russian, and we are on the other side of the Atlantic, and I don't care if all blows up, and as long as we are saved here in America. And there was also from England, here I'm sitting in the front of the Buckingham Palace, looking for my bread, for my meal. My guest mother gave me some breads. We were in Southend-on-Sea, and we went to London many times, and here I'm in front of the Buckingham Palace. And there was a comedy in England. It was called Spitting Image, and then there was Ronald Reagan laying in the bed, and then there were two buttons. The one was the button for the North, and the other button was nuke, and he pushed the wrong nuke, and then the nurse come in. Why didn't you come when I called you? Well, you didn't call me. You pushed the wrong button. You pushed the nuke button, and we were scared. You know, that was no fun for us. There was a myth that the president of the United States has a button, and if he decided to go in a nuclear war, he pushed the button and all the rockets will fly, and we were really scared about this. It was, this middle-range rockets, they had such a short time, only maybe 20 minutes or 30 minutes, and they put it, so in the east of Germany there were this SS-20 from Russia, and in the west we had the Pershings, and it was really scary, the 80s, it was scary, but when you see them here, they were not scared, they were not scared. They knew that it is all theater, that is only to keep us in fear. They knew it, but we were very scared, yeah. And one time we had from the German army, from the Bundeswehr, he came to school, and there was this SDI, this space defense in which, I don't know the I, so it was a project in the time of Ronald Reagan, that they make a shield that the rockets from Russia will never destroy America. And then there was a girl, well, this is destroying the balance of power. This is destroying the balance of power. They will think that the first strike will be successful. They will blow us up. And then he had a suitcase. Well, look at this, my friends. Here, the Soviets, the Russians, they do the same. And then he showed us some pictures, around Moscow, that they have a rocket shield, and so they doing the same. And then the Americans, they just answer, it's all equal. But we didn't believe it, and we said, well, can the American president decide to bring us in a nuclear war? Can he decide it alone? And he said, yes. And we said, why is that? Our one single man can decide it. He said, well, your town here in Hamburg, it is quite important. What will happen when the Russians come here to Schleswig-Holstein, and they make a bridgehead here, and they go into Hamburg, and when the Russians come over the Baltic Sea, and all the Americans, they don't know the meaning of this gap here. It is like a critical point. They had also another critical point, like Fulda Gap. That was more where I live now, near Frankfurt. That was the smallest, the smallest size of Germany. So they told us the Russians will take the Fulda Gap and they will take Hamburg. And there's no time to explain the American people this meaning. And so that is flexible response, So the president decided by his own. And we said, what? And we were angry, and we were really angry. And that was a time. There was a great fear, and we were on the street and holding, demonstrating, hop, 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 rockets, stop, like this. When I was here in this age, so we went on the street in Hamburg and demonstrating, and then going to the city hall. There was a big fear of nuclear war, and Well, it turned out it turned out that well, I don't know. There were also some maneuvers, and they changed the codes so the Russian couldn't read the codes, and maybe we were on the edge. They don't tell us everything. There was a big maneuver in the beginning of the 80s, and the just before the maneuver starts, you know, not everybody in the Russian army knew that it was just a game. They believed really that the Americans threat them, and they were able to launch maybe some rockets. You know, sometimes we were on the edge. Yeah. Well, going back to my father, this is um, Assad, the president of Egypt. Well, they loved each other. You know, he was a true Muslim. He was really a religious man. My father, not. He didn't know the Bible so much like me. Well, I learned the Bible more in the last 2 years. You know, when I left this torture behind me, I thought, well, it's time to thank God and well maybe read something of the Bible. It must have a meaning, and I found it has a meaning. It has all a meaning. What is in the Bible? Well, his name was Anwar as-Sadat, and he made the first peace treaty between Egypt and Israel. And yeah, then this is not maybe what the Antichrist liked, so he was murdered in 1981, where they killed him. There was one guy going with a gun, with a pistol. He went to the tribune and shot him right in a tribune when he was sitting on a tribune. So he killed him, and well, the peace treaty was made with Jimmy Carter, also in Camp David. You know, this famous place in the U.S. where all the presidents made this negotiation with Israel and Palestine, and well, in that time it was Jimmy Carter and Menachem Begin. Yeah, he was the president of Israel. Well, and after the Yom Kippur war, I think it was in 72, the Israel took the Sinai, and well, and after the peace treaty, Egypt got back this Suez Channel and the Sinai. Well, it was a great deal, and also my father was a little bit involved. It sounds so funny. Well, I never, well, I never met him, but I talk about him like, well, it is so crazy. You know, maybe some people say, well, I have no right to talk like this, but I will tell you what, my father did more for my country than any other of you scumbags that now destroying my country, you know. He was honored for his work in the flood of Hamburg, and he did also other good work when he was in office, and well, the people loved him. The people honored him, they loved him, and well, this was the reason why they want to have him, you know. This was the reason why, and yeah, well, it is somehow a long video, but I have all to tell you this. Yeah, you must understand that there's a plan. You must understand that there is a God. Yeah, there is no coincidence here. Why made I all these films? I could say, well, why should I sacrifice myself? I made the film before I knew that he was my father. You know, I had no idea. My parents always kept a secret, and they were not allowed to talk about this. And well, talking about King Solomon, You know, King Solomon, he loved women. So also my father loved women a lot. Well, he never must do a lot. They came alone. You know, when you are famous, they come. And well, my mother was not the only one he had. Well, there were also other women, and this is how it looks when the Antichrist celebrating his victory. You know, he looks a little bit ashamed. Yeah? Well, he showed the world now, he's ours. He's now in our trap. We made a trap for him, and he stepped in, and he can't escape the trap. This is how the Antichrist show the world his victory. You see this. Well, it's somehow. Well, I feel ashamed. I feel ashamed for my father that he is on the stage with this. I don't want to speak it out. It was more fun, but it looks like Babylon. You know, it looks Babylon. You know, the great city, the great whore. You know, and he's in the city here. Well, the trap was very clever. I think my mother was the trap. She was so innocent. She came from a Christian family, and she looked like a lamb, but she spoke like a dragon. You know, when he realized that she was a trap, I think he was very disappointed. You know, it was a great shock for him. And well, this is how he looked when he was old. Well, he was broken. He never was allowed to see his son. That was me. And he was really broken. You know, when they don't need you anymore, they throw you away. And his whole soul was destroyed by the Antichrist. Well, they made a trap, and he went in. Well, he was not rich. He had a small house. This is his house. Very small. Not, you know, his parents, they were teachers. He was a small boy from Hamburg, like me. My father was, you know, my social father. He was responsible for me, and he started as a showerman. You know, after the war, the whole harbor was broken. He was 12 when the war was over, and then when he became a teen, he went with his brother in the harbor, and then in 6 in the morning there were this, you know, they looking for people, you know, the ships to empty the ship, and they had to carry this sacks, sometimes concrete, to empty the ships. There was no container terminal, you know, the container terminal came later, and all these small ships from all over the world, from Africa, coffee, sugar, all this, and sometimes they needed people to empty the ships. There's a special word for it, I know, but I don't know. I'm sorry. To make the ship empty, and well, then he went with his older brother into the harbor in his youth, and then he was doing this heavy work, you know, showerman. And then later he started on a wharf. He became a mechanic on a wharf. So and later he decided to go to sea as a sailor. He was a machinist. He was all the time in this room where one time he showed me, we went into the harbor, and then, well, I show you where I was working when I was younger, and then all this machines and all this heat, you know, there was such a heat. And when he went to Africa, to Brazil, and there was outside a lot of heat and inside a lot of heat, it was a heavy work. and it was very loud, and he had to control the machines that the ship keep running, you know. And yeah, he did this work for years, and then afterwards he met my mother when he came back to Hamburg after 4 years, and then, you know, it's a complicated story. I don't want to go into detail here. So, but yeah, we were poor in the 70s. My mother couldn't work, and the earning of my father was not big as a mechanic. He worked in a company. I don't know. It was about metalworking, and no, he was a mechanic. And well, so I was poor, and we had more money when my mother started to work again. That was in the 80s. But when I was a child, there was not much on the table. Only a little bit bread, a little bit cheese. That's it. No more. Nothing. Nothing like you know, another kind of cheese, or maybe some sausages. I think only in the lunch or in the dinner in the evening, only a little bit bread, a little bit cheese, and well, it was we haven't so much money, but the union was good, and my father had a lot of earning also, but somehow, well, I don't want to go in detail, you know. Well, he was also angry. He knew that I was not his legal son, that I was a bastard. Well, they were friends, you know. He had no problem to share his wife, you know, with my real father, but when the result came, well, he got angry. Well, I mean, it can happen if you share your wife, you know. But he was not happy with this, and also he was oppressed a little bit. That he didn't like it maybe, but they made also a trap for him. But oh boy, I can't tell. I can't tell this all here. You know, I going on here with some other pictures. Well, you know, my father was also a small boy from Hamburg. He is it when he was a child. You know, he knew the pain already in his early years. Yeah, you know, this is a difficult subject, you know, like, yeah, my father, why do you treat me like an enemy? Well, also I looked somehow serious. You see me in the age of 12. Yeah, I'm looking, well, I had nothing, had never much to love, you know. I was under control of my mother. She was the gatekeeper. Well, and well, this was a funny story. This is a Tower of Toronto. We visited my uncles. I had 3 uncles in North America. This is another story. I had so much fun, and that was so fun. I heard the first time rock and roll, and I thought, well, the Americans, they must be crazy. When they love a girl, they put this gasoline on the piano singing "Great Ball of Fire," you know. That was Jerry Louis Louis, and that was the joke. I knew already that not every American man do this, like this. But the greatest was Buddy Holly. When I came back to Germany, Buddy Holly, and I wanted to have this record, and you know, and every time I came from school, and I love you, Peggy Sue, and singing all the songs as far as I can understand it. My English was not so good at that time. Well, it was a great time. It's another story. I continue. Here's my father. You see the slide when he was smiling. As these are his classmate when he was in elementary school. That was in the Weimar Republic. When I was born, he was already 49, I think. And this is as he looked as a boy. Yeah, you see the light already. You can see it. Here another picture. He looks more serious here. Typical cap of Hamburg. The people who worked in the harbor, they had this cap. It's a working cap for the workers in the harbor. Well, and well, as I said, he was like King Solomon. He liked women a lot, and I gratulate also the Queen. It's great that she had him. I know it. You see this here. I know it, and that was great for her because that brought her a lot of light. You know, my father was full of light, and maybe it was one of her happiest moments in her life. You know, you see her laughing here. Well, great, and also here Margaret Thatcher. Normally, well, she was from the Tories, you know, the Conservatives. He was from the German Labour Party. Normally they don't like each other, but well, my father was such an icebreaker. He made always jokes, you know, and he could also talk with everybody. Here you see him talking with Udo Lindenberg. He's a famous. Well, he still makes music and gigs. He's a famous German rock star living in a Hotel Atlantic in Hamburg. And here you see him talking with my father here. It's amazing. When he laughed, it was like you know, it was so intense. All this light coming out. All this light. Well, he was full of light, and I had a hard time when he came into office, and well, it was 74, and he had to quit the relationship with my mother, and well, that was a hard time. So my mother screamed at night. She was running through the apartment, and then we had only an apartment, no house, you know. And well, then I was laying in bed, and I was scared, and there goes another cup. There goes another. She destroyed so many things. She outraged. You know that all this light suddenly disappeared. You know, he was so full of light. Well, she went crazy. My social father said, well, he thought she will leave and leave him alone with, you know. Well, well, it is hard to lose such a man. I can understand it. Well, I can understand my mother, but you know, it was not free. It was all arranged. It was a trap, and I was a result of the trap. You know, yeah, here you see me. Well, I was also full of light when I was younger. You know, before this Babylon treatment came over me. You know, I was also laughing a lot, and well, also the girls like me a lot. Here you see me. Well, well, you know, they saw me and they liked me somehow. You know. Maybe another picture. Or maybe here, well, they were always my passion, you know. I like this hairs and all this. Well, maybe this is the reason why I made these videos. Well, I heard about all this poor women. They are tortured and they are dying, and one day I realized if you don't make these videos, nobody will do it. I realized it somehow. Well, I could take the cross, you know, I made a video, then the punishment, 3 days torture. I mean really hard torture, that you think you will die, and then after punishment was over, 3 days recovering, and then next video. Mostly I did it on the weekend, the first time. But, well, I could take the cross, you know. I had all this pain in my life already, you know, and it was no big deal for me, you know. I could make it, and I did it. Yeah, and I thought, well, all these beautiful women in the world, and well, I had to do it. Now it's becoming strange. I must warn you. It is so strange that you will see, well, it's somehow also like a proof. Yeah, maybe, well, I made a video who I am, and I show my ear, and also the upper part of my face is nearly similar like my father, but it's not a real proof, you know. My sister could prove, but she wouldn't do it because it is too dangerous, you know. She couldn't do this to prove that we have the same father. But I show you now a picture. Well, as I said already, the girls like me. Here you see another. I can't tell who she was. I can't tell it. But you see me here with this Bavarian leather trouser. My grandfather gave it to me. He said, well, he's a German boy, he needs a Bavarian trouser here. And well, he gave it to me as a gift. And here you see the boy from Denver Airport, from the mural from Denver Airport. Here you see this boy. Well, I have to look here. And here's another picture, maybe a little bit bigger. Maybe this is better. Well, if you compare it, you see this boy here with the blonde hairs and this trouser, and also this girl, which is smiling. Well, do you know who this girl is? It's her. It's Angela. It's Angela Merkel, you know. The face looks nearly similar. And also my face here. Well, here comes another one. Well, they were so proud that they have me, that the Antichrist Christ was so proud that they have me in prison, you know. No, I had not a real life. I was in prison. My mother was in prison, you know. She was a watchdog for me, and she was well trained to trick my father, to make a trap for him, you know. And here comes another picture. My father with Angela Merkel. You can go back. You can see how similar this is to this mural at the Denver airport. They made a picture of my father and me together with Angela Merkel. Well, this here, you know, this is from, I tell you the place in the Bible. This is the Bible it is in the Old Testament. It is Jesaja. It is Jesaja chapter 2, and it is it is about swords into flock jars, making peace in the world. But the Antichrist in the front of the United Nations building in New York, there's a statue also looking like this. There's a man who making a sword into a flock jar, and this is how the Antichrist see the Bible, that he will rule the world and making the one world government and bringing peace to earth. Well, this is a joke. The Antichrist now trailers with bioweapons. The people are dying from it. The peace is that he wants to kill 90% of people worldwide. This is how he sees peace. This is nothing to do with the Bible. It's nothing to do with the prophets, Jesaja. It is a disgrace, It is the Antichrist. And, well, I have some other funny pictures for you, Here you go. Here we are. You see me here in my 20s. This is me. This little boy is already adult. Nobody will recognize him. This is me, how I looked. Not very funny. I never felt free when I was with my mother. There was always an occupation in my mind. There were the chains. Well, they made it really clever, I will tell in another video. And you see here my arm, and this is a computer game, Wolfenstein: The New World Order. You see this booby here. Well, I told I'm not a bad booby, but I fear I am. Here, this booby, this expression in the face and the arm, they took it from this picture. How I get the picture? Well, my mother delivered every picture of me, She is a willing servant of the Antichrist. And all pictures of me she delivered at the Freemasons, Freemason doctor, boss. She worked with in the hospital, and all the intelligence community, they have all my pictures on a computer. Well, maybe another one. By the way, this is my mother sitting beside me. Looks, she didn't wear wear swastika on the arm, but well, this is when she looked angry. Well, the color of the hair is also different, the face, but it somehow when we went to Stuttgart visiting my grandmother, we went with a train, and maybe they made a picture. Well, they observed me my whole life, They have so many pictures about me, about my mother, And here we are going down to Stuttgart, and well, this Wolfenstein scene, it is amazing. In this Wolfenstein game, here, what is he saying? This woman is my life. You understand? Well, this is the scene when this booby tries to murder this agent Blaskowitz. After he give him a injection of Botox, this neurotoxic. I made a film, and I made a film with this picture, and I said, well, I'm not a bad booby, but I'm sorry, it's me. It's me. They took it. They took it from me. And this game is also funny. This game here. So this Erica Engels thread, she plays a game, and if you are wrong, I will kill you. Well, I think this is more subject for another film, for a BitChute film. But well, it's quite amazing how, yeah, you know, it is so amazing how I find myself here in the video game called the New World Order. This is their plan. They want to build the New World Order with my father and with me, you know. And I refused, and I said, "Fuck you," you know. I decided not. They tempted me. There was a psychoanalysis. You know, he was a doctor. He was a Freemason. He trained me in a direction to become a sadist, and I realized it, and I broke. I said no. Well, he tempted me to give me satanic pleasure, like, you know, not touching me, but yeah, it's a special trini that you know, he makes you suffer, and then he said, well, you can be strong, you can also torture other people, maybe like this. Well, this is how it works. The Antichrist, he makes you as a victim, and then he offers later, then when all his heart is filled with hate and the devil is in your heart, and then he offers you, now you can be great. Well, you can fall into sin. Yeah, this is it, how it works. And I will make some other films on BitChute, maybe more in detail, but not here, you know. I think that's it, and maybe you understand now the master plan of God, and well, and we have a father, he's mentioned in the Bible, and well, I will try to make a film before the Saturday comes, before the great day, the 29th, so that I may tell the world who I am. Well, it's I have to stop. I hope I can make this film without tears. Well, it was maybe disgusting for you here, but well, it's a strong plan. It's very dramatic, and you know, living in the end of time, it's dramatic, and to find out that I became important. I thought I was a clown, you know. I thought I am a clown, and now I see how important my films are. Well, it's amazing. See you next video.